Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fermi Paradox. I'm DisturbingPuppet. We are continuing to act as the galactic gardener here, sort of prospering and dealing with these various different alien races that are spreading and expanding and advancing throughout the galaxy. So what do we have that's different? Yeah, since last time, the Dorloth here, our living plant people on a frozen ice world, have sent a jazz music signal out into space. They have also sent a hollowed out asteroid to a nearby system. There was alien life there when they got there, so when they did arrive, the local inhabitants attacked the ship, took it over, and took off with it. So some people did stay. There's now actually over 9 million Dorloth living on this other system. Weirdly enough, if it'll let me find them. So the original inhabitants, the Rao, took over the hollowed out asteroid, and even though they're only at an agricultural tech level, are now wandering off towards another star system, just kind of hitching a ride. And there apparently seems to be a separate Dorloth meteor ship here with Dorloth still on it, with only 82 Dorloth left. Seems kind of weird. I would think that they would actually be on the same ship, just in different compartments, but I don't know if the game knows how to handle that, so that's why that's kind of going on. I'm sort of ignoring them as things progress. So that's the Dorloth. This circle here is the Jazz radio signal that they sent out quite a while ago. A signal went out here towards this other planet. All right, down here, the Maru. Well, actually, let's take a look here real quick. The Dorloth democratic conglomerates are in the Cyber Age. The Maru Commonwealth was the second race that developed. They are now the highest technologically. They're all the way up to the Lightspeed Age, which is, I think, 2 steps above where the Dorloth are, although they were the first to develop. They've had many, many wars over resources in their history, but are doing quite well and are advancing technologically very, very quickly. Over here, the sort of idyllic, utopian plant alien whatever, the Batir fertile groups who sort of genetically engineer other plant species from this planet in order to spread, have done very, very well. There's over 3 billion of them. Growth is really high, plenty of resources. This seems like a very ideal planet, so they're also in the digital age, so pretty well advanced. And then we have the crazy headhunting bug people who sort of got on a, like, free will kick for a while, and then got into a giant war over resources of obsidian that they were using for tools and weaponry, even though they're only at like a very low tech level. They do have a radio signal heading to them. I don't think they're going to be able to detect it by the time it gets there. So very kind of an odd species. So every time life jumps up, we can spend some points to sort of guide its direction. As events happen, we can spend points to guide direction, and that's kind of what we've got here with the synthesis points. So we do have 2 separate groups that are headed to Alpha Centauri, who both came from what's now currently the Dorloth Garrison, which was, I think, the Gliese system, something like that. So yeah, it's been an interesting run so far. Always lots of strange stuff happens playing this game. More and more species, more and more events of things have been added. This is still early access, so currently 0.69. All right, we're going to continue going on. I don't think anybody's in a really bad spot where we have to like kind of babysit a specific group. Let's take a quick look at resources. So resource collapses are kind of a big issue. So they're fine. So at this point, they're harvesting resources from gas giants in their system. Decent population growth, under 1 billion Maru. It's pretty high actually compared to what it used to be. Fairly balanced overall. The Dorloth hero is trying to kind of push towards getting to the next tech level, so we could kind of sit on them, but they've been doing all right. Everything looks good there. Only 9 million on this other system. They've got over 1,000 years of resources. They're at the nuclear age tech level, about to go up. So they're only like one. These guys are in cyber, right? No, that's the meteor ship. Yeah, the meteor ship, the Dorloth are all the way down to Bronze Age technology. They lost pretty much everything. Yeah, so they're in cyber, so that's 2 steps above the colonists in the other system. All right. Out here, the Batur, 500 years of resources currently. They're still in the digital age, so they're still relying on resources on their home planet. Growth is crazy high, which I might want to get under control a little bit. We could do some babysitting a bit of the Vakir. or Vakai. They currently have 0% growth because they're fighting like a massive war over the remaining obsidian. Yeah, we might want to get them out of the obsidian tech era, so we could maybe sit on these guys for a bit and just kind of get them to advance a little bit and see what we can do. All right, let's do that. Beloved Trapper Prolocutor has died. So these are just kind of whatever things that this is sort of random, and then the other ones will have pluses or minuses to affect the various different things going on. Another Trapper Prolocutor has died. If anything happens importantly somewhere else, it'll pop up here. We can jump around every single time and see what every single different group is facing at the same time, but I think it's kind of silly to do. So yeah, a little bit more peaceful. Okay, the garrison has entered a technological age, so these are the colonists. The Dorloth reached the digital age. So this is the colony we sent out there that were at nuclear. Dorloth are now connected via complex computer systems, satellite networks, and mobile communications devices. Simple survival on the alien world is no longer a struggle, and they're now able to see Gliese as their home. Fascinating that some fallen civilizations managed to cross the space sea with primitive nuclear devices. And not until they lived under the light of another star did they discover the way of networked computer devices. So they are growing pretty well, 15 million of them, plenty of resources. Alright, in this new era, we can spend a ton of points to make them a digital colony. Dorloth used the connectivity of the new digital era to spread knowledge and understanding. Instant access to information for all creates a more egalitarian society. Kind of expensive. Digital colony, advanced analog robots with networked connectivity and primitive AI allow the Dorloth to utilize the resources of the planet with much greater efficiency. But they keep the name of the original colonists. They've grown into an independent civilization that is truly at home here. Power. Paranoid leaders invest in aerial strike drones and hackers that can bring down critical support systems. They proudly take the name of the first home on Rigel 7 to remember their ancient struggles. Yeah, we'll just go advancement. That's fine. That's more resources and more people. So it's now the home of the settler factions. To begin, the first contact with the Rowd drifts and the visiting Dorloth meteor ships seemed peaceful and productive, but it turned out to be a carefully orchestrated ruse, so we've kind of seen that before. Yeah, these guys are doing fine. We can just kind of let them run. I would have to say that some of the music I find kind of irritating, and it's awfully loud even with it turned down as much as I've got it, which I have it even more turned down for the recording, so you don't have to experience it quite as much as I do. Yeah, you guys are doing okay. Yeah, we've got 1,000 years here. The Dorloth have made it through some of those early resource problems quite effectively. All right, so let's go ahead and let's push technology here with the Vakai. Remarkable Sage, celebrated for their contributions. We can be a little bit less of a dystopia. Beautiful sculptures are shared among the Vakai. Once powerful ladder falls. It's kind of the name of their groups. They're the Vakai Ladders. 60 years. I don't know that I want to push the population increase yet. We'd like to get through to the next tech level before we do that. Vakai establish a new ladder. Okay, aboard the Dorloth meteor ship. Dorloth knowledge. Laboratory expansion. Rocket scientists aboard the Dorloth meteor ship demand more space to work. Considering these guys are only, Bronze Age level tech, it's kind of odd. They insist that every living quarter, ship equipment storage space, and support system hub should be evaluated to see if its contents can be replaced with scientific equipment. If there's not enough space on my ship for you to make me that phase missile I asked for, then I suggest you quickly invent a shrink ray. There's only 82 of them on this thing, which is kind of nuts. Yeah, main objective. Entire sections of the meteor ship are completely reworked to create room for new laboratories. The rocket scientists thrive and are extremely productive. That does push tech up really high. Regular development. Engineers argue it's impossible to magically create more space for new laboratories, but they managed to creatively cram non-scientific areas of the ship with scientific facilities. I think that's probably the appropriate way to go. Dead end. The captain halts all laboratory expansion plans after the rocket scientists ask to tamper with the chemical rocket engine systems. Yeah, we'll just go regular development. That's fine. So yeah, they're still just kind of barely chugging along to Bronze Age here. Alright, we're going to head back to the Vakai. I don't really care too much about the ships. They can be kind of dead ends. It's not a huge deal. Influential Vakai. Trapper Prolocutor rises to power. Guess we'll do this. Beautiful sculptures are shared. Don't really want growth yet. I want to get to the next era first, so we'll hold off. Let's have some more resources. Keeping an eye out for tech. It's just not coming up very often. I don't know if the choices you made earlier impact what comes up, at like what frequency and rate. Alright, we're getting close. This should do it. Remarkable Sage, celebrated. Alright, Vakai ladders make it to the next level of technology. Steel Age. The Vakai and Kepler-4 are able to access countless sources of heat to refine metal ore. It's kind of a volcanic planet. They start creating strong alloys to construct weapons, armors, tools, and buildings. Take your instincts by the reins. Your better best to rearrange. What we want and what we need has been confused, Finest work song. Doesn't sound familiar at all. So Obsidian Age will end after, so we'll kind of see this once we get through. So we have some choices. For no cost, we can go Sages push the boundaries of alloy use and develop multiple new applications through the creation of printing presses and alchemistic laboratories. They're able to research the secrets of the primal world in much more detail, and their findings impress and inspire the Vakai. We can spend some points for steel reinforced buildings and cave systems offer the Vakai protection from the harsh environment of Kepler-4. Soon settlements are getting expanded and colonists develop new bold designs for their living spaces, leading to an era of impetuous urbanization. More powers. Steel armor and melee weapons start dominating the battlefield. Deadly siege engines can howl containers full of lava into the midst of enemy armies, to great pleasure and satisfaction of both trapper prolocutors and beast trappers, who miss no opportunity to burn their enemies to a crisp. Honestly, that's kind of a fun idea. I don't think I want to spend any points. We'll just kind of let you guys move along through wisdom. So yeah, just focus on doing different things, printing presses, laboratories, whatever. Okay, so only 84 years of metallic resources for the steel. That is a bit of a problem. We might want to rush through this era then. So we'll kind of keep sitting on the Vakai here for a bit. The Vakai are now able to produce sophisticated metal alloys, allowing them to construct impressive cities. Oh, the Rao ship. So these are the guys that kind of stole the ship, attacked, and took over. Rao consumption. So they're kind of wandering around in space. Their tech level is very low. During the long journey of the Rao ship, the resource storage produced long ago in the glass system started showing signs of deterioration. The logistic officers alarm the captain about the situation, which doesn't really make any sense because they're such low tech level. Did we? Yeah, I think I've read this one before. Yeah, so they're just agricultural. So they're just like, they've just discovered farming, but they're inside a kind of hollowed out asteroid traveling through space. All right, so our choices are Astro Craftsperson and Astro Sages work for many years to prevent the deterioration of the onboard resource storage, developing a strong expertise and durability. Only cost me 10, not a big deal. Regular development, Captain orders harsh guidelines to manage consumption. Deterioration will still reduce the resource storage, but far less resources will be used. They currently have like 500 years worth of resources, so I don't think it's too big of a deal. Massive consumption, generally not a good idea. We can spend 10 points, I guess. They're you know, this is all that they have. It's their entire species, so we'll spend a couple points on them. That's fine. Yeah, they've got 500 years. They're all right. Durability techniques developed during the long journey of the RAW ship prevented the resource storage of the RAW from deterioration. Okay, yeah, the Jazz signal is very close to getting to the Maru. I don't know what's going to happen once it gets there. Close to the Vakai as well, but they don't have the technology to pick it up. We'll take a random thing here. Once powerful council falls. Vakai establish a new council. Kai mourned the death of beloved trapper Eminence. I mean, we're crazy headhunter bugs. We could increase our peacefulness slightly. We're low tech, but our ability to kill each other is pretty effective, honestly. Yeah, we can do that. The writers inspire the Vakai to live peacefully. Hey, Mara Commonwealths have picked up the signals from space. Let's see how they respond. Tau City is receiving signals from another star. The space opera. The Maru can hear the Dorloth jazz music from the Rigel system loud and clear. A sense of purpose and galactic community runs through the Maru Commonwealth like electricity. While everybody is listening attentively to the Dorloth messages, the answer must be grand and spectacular. Tau City's space structuralists and ethic structuralists declare that there's only one proper way to communicate the beliefs and values of their civilization. They need a monumental opera! Opera is where a guy gets stabbed in the back and instead of dying, he sings. Robert Benchley. Yeah, the music's kind of irritating, honestly. Alright, so we have some options here of things that we could do. I'm actually going to quickly drop the volume slightly. Alright, so we can signal boost. The process of conceptualizing the space opera brings the Maru together on a system-wide scale. The history of their species and the future they envision in the stars are woven together into an interstellar masterpiece. The artwork is monumental and must be shared with the entire galactic community. So there's another spelling error there. I've seen a few of those. This is early access, of course, so things can and will change. Probably stuff like that will get fixed. I really don't like the box that pops up here when we hover over stuff. That didn't used to do that, but now that there's controller stuff, it kind of has that. Answer the Signal. A group of influential space structuralists and ethics structuralists stage an opulent space opera. The grandiose saga evolves around a love triangle between a shy mass scientist, proud governor of an unstable commonwealth, and an enigmatic outcast. Recordings of the spectacle are relayed back to the Rigel system. Or no response. The real drama does not happen on the stage, but rather behind the scenes. Creative vision, interstellar political interests, and public opinion clash. After an eccentric opera director is fired, they grab a magnetic rifle and take the cast hostage. Space Marines storm the ruin that was chosen as the set of the space opera. Okay, so somebody loses their mind. You know, for kind of crazy carnivorous dinosaurs people, the Maru have really impressed me here so far. I think they've, constantly fighting over things. Resources have been a problem, but they've managed to overcome everything intellectually and technologically, so I think we'll continue in that vein. Let's go nuts with a signal boost and send the best space opera ever back. And it's on its way. Yeah, so actually we can look here on the map. So, the settlers once fought with the Dorloth. Well, that doesn't make sense. They fought the Rao. The Dorloth never made contact with other civilizations, so just the ones that they sent. There's been no communication between the two. The Maru detected signals from the Dorloth, so that's been about it. Batir never contacted anybody else. Vakai have no knowledge of other alien life forms. Okay, we need to get things rolling here. We'll take a random. Vakai ballads represent harmony. It's all random. Cracks open in Kepler-4's crust and swallow an entire Vakai city. So we're now currently running at negative population growth. Let's get some tech. Works of remarkable scholar are widely circulated. Something's happening with the Batir. Depopulation in Vex. Mechanized harvest of undersea creatures on Vexus depletes ocean biomass to the point of destabilizing the entire ecosystem, an important food source for Batir populations. A huge net is being dragged across the sea floor, destroying everything in its path. Ahead of it bloom undersea forests and their hundreds and thousands of living creatures, both plant and animal. Behind it is a desert. Margaret Atwood. You guys have actually been doing pretty well. So, the Batir group strictly regulate ocean harvest, stabilizing undersea biomass for 40 points. Regulate development. Multiple ocean species go extinct, collapsing the fishing industry. This in turn decreases the Batir population. That's fine. Growth is kind of nuts. Massive depopulation. Unable to regulate their fishing industry, the Batir deplete the Vexus oceans of life. So this is mainly just a population issue. It's not a resource issue. It's kind of a separate thing at this point. Earlier in Civilization it would be the same, but at this point it's separate. Let's just go regular deployment. So yeah, some things go extinct. Growth is massively high anyway, so dropping that is fine. So they're going to be into the Cyber Age next after Digital. Yeah, you guys are looking good as far as resources go. Keep kind of sitting on the Vakai here. See if we can get them out of the Steel Age without too much trouble. Influential eminence rises to power. Yeah, we could be more peaceful. So the Dorloth have reached a new technological age. So they've reached the Solar Age. Right, so Solar and then it's Lightspeed after that. Overcoming previous limits of propulsion and engineering, Dorloth are now able to build ships capable of exploring and colonizing their own solar system. Advanced AI are built to escort them on the journey, while mastery of genetic engineering allows Dorloth and their crops to adapt to the new colonies. So now I don't know why they're showing, this is like the ones that we saw in the ship. Kind of odd. I guess it's like them piloting a little personal craft or something. Okay, so for a massive cost, Orbital Space Labs develop tech to allow Dorloth to expand even further into the cosmos. We can go basic advancement. Techniques are developed to allow terraforming and colony construction in even the harshest environments. More power, a fleet of city-sized battleships patrol the Rigel system to ensure that colonies remain loyal to the government. Let's go just advancement. I'm fine with that. So it's the Dorloth Democratic Dominions. They've got 2,000 years of resources in the asteroid fields. The Dorloth can now establish permanent solar colonies and other planets in the Rigel system. They're just barely utopian. Yeah, doing pretty good. Solar Age cruising along. Okay, so here in Kepler, not even halfway to the next tech level, but we've got 87 years. Earth is negative at the moment. It'd be nice to get that higher. Will the lights in our sky go dark one day? Yeah, give me more resources. Basically just more conservation efforts, essentially. Once powerful council falls. Let's go tech. Remarkable scholars' research is widely spread. The Batir have reached a new technological age. So the Batir have reached the Cyber Age. With rapid advancement, artificial intelligence, and technologically augmented Batir, the civilization undergoes drastic change and reaches new milestones in science, engineering, and the arts. So, cyberpunk plants. Wisdom costs us nothing. Crossing into the realm of AI, Batir now have the ability to vastly improve their societies and facilitate communication with faraway beings. However, new technology represents great risks as well, so a little extra wisdom couldn't hurt. Basic advancement. The Batir focus on innovations in engineering. This includes finding the balance between consumption and resource preservation, advancing the infrastructure of their megacities, and exploring the galaxy beyond Vex. Power. The Batir prioritize military power. Doesn't make sense for very utopian plant people. Creating new tools for defense and combat on Vexus or elsewhere in space. Yeah, I think we'll just go advancement. Wow, that's going to bump up my growth, which is already pretty crazy high. Wisdom doesn't cost me anything. Alright, yeah, wisdom will get them communications tech and stuff, so yeah, we'll prioritize that. That's fine. So if you want, you can see a bit of history if you go back. It only kind of touches on some of the stuff that's happened, though, nothing like in-depth. It doesn't cover every event. I'd like to see something covering every major event that you've come across with the species if you look back at it. It's just kind of most of them. Okay, you guys have 650 years. That's plenty of time, although your growth is kind of crazy high. The signal from the Batir has almost reached Vakai, but yeah, there's no way they're going to get to the point where they can detect it. I'm going to push tech here rather than growth. Settler factions. Power in Gliese. So the Dorloth colonists that are there. Military drones. The settlers are using unmanned aerial vehicles for military operations. These drones are remotely controlled over vast distances and used in missions deemed too dangerous or too tedious for living pilots. A drone strike is a terror weapon. We don't talk about it that way. It is. Just imagine you're walking down the street and you don't know whether in 5 minutes there's going to be an explosion across the street from someplace up in the sky that you can't see. Noam Chomsky. Okay, so there's up to... Actually, 292 million is pretty considerable. Plenty of resources. Military drones. Prevention costs a lot. No thanks. Regular development. Military drone programs gain momentum on Gliese C. Attackers no longer have to risk their lives of their own citizens in order to bomb others. Absolute power. The settlers replace all regular military aircraft with remote-controlled drones for optimal combat. War is just like a video game, but with real guns. Yeah, we'll just go regular development, that's fine. This colony is actually doing really well. I'm a little surprised. I did have in the game I played before all the way through, a human faction split off, formed a colony, and then became like super militant, which was kind of interesting. Alright, over here, yeah, we'll just have some peace, thanks. Keep trying to get out of this era. Then get growth back up. Council formed. Okay, we'll get the growth now, I guess. Growing city expands its influence. So, growth is now stable. Maru! New technological age. They were at light speed before. Reached the singularity age. The Maru create machines capable of recursive self-improvement. These constructs can build even more powerful copies of themselves autonomously, growing their potential with each generation. The path to true artificial intelligence is clear. Could we drop the artificial intelligence? It's a bit like me calling you a meat-based processing system. On the Steel Breeze by Alistair Reynolds. Read some of his stuff? Very good. So, Singularity Age. Self-learning AI is able to process data and innovate faster than any Mars scientists. Breakthroughs in all fields of research happen almost daily, at a pretty high cost. Advancement. Machines transform themselves to take on such tasks as cleaning up the environment, building Maro habitations, and acting as caretakers for the elderly. Power. Adaptive robotic soldiers upgrade themselves after every conflict, soon evolving into the most deadly fighting force ever created by the Maru. I think we'll just go with the advancement. There still aren't that many Maru, so they've kept their populations under control historically through fighting over resources. But now that things are kind of stabilizing, and there's plenty of resources, maybe that'll change. Yeah, so taking a path of wisdom through the ethical jungle of the Cyber Age allowed the Maru, to consider potential dangers carefully and keep an eye on safety. Embracing artificial intelligence was a leap of faith, which they were right not to take blindly. The Maru can now build large orbital habitats, monitored and maintained by artificial intelligences. The drive for progress in the Lightspeed Age led the Maru through underground cities, magnetic field manipulation, and early Tau Ceti 3 forming experiments. They also pursued settlements in extremely hazardous conditions like gaseous planets or the corona of a star. I don't think there was stuff in this before where you actually had a civilization. Like at that level, you'd think. I mean, they still are limited by the speed of light to get places. But you'd think you could have a multi-system empire, but I think in this you're kind of limited to just single-system empires. Okay, almost out of the Steel Age here. Just out of curiosity, the Maru down here. 4 more Singularity Societies for final tech. So they've got to go through 4 or 5 more steps before they're kind of done, and then... I don't remember. I think you can keep playing once somebody reaches that point. I think you can keep playing till everybody reaches that point. I think you can kind of do whatever you want, sort of, because other alien intelligences can rise up. I'm not sure how long we'll keep this one going, though. We'll see how things progress. Alright, let's go just a bit more ethical. Beautiful ballads are shared among the Vakai. Alright, the Vakai make it to the next technological age, so out of the Steel era. They've reached the Dirigible Age. The Vakai and Kepler-4 managed to construct lighter-than-air vessels filled with buoyant gases to safely traverse the otherwise impassable tracts of lava and volcanic wastes. This allows them to go on long-distance global travels. Forward, my neonates, let's conquer the sky. Let's fly away from these caustic grounds and let these fantastic balloons carry us to new promised lands. Alright, so... zero cost here. Thanks to immense airships, the Vakai are able to examine many new regions. Their travels offer great scientific insight and inspire philosophers to dream of leaving their primordial world one day. For a little bit of a cost, the Vakai establish aerial trading routes over formerly unpassable lava streams. These routes revolutionize commerce and trade on Kepler-4. The metal loads of the Vakai councils become very popular with other societies and help improve the reputation of the Vakai councils. Power. War dirigibles are filled with steel trappers, equipped with simple firearms. Born and raised in the hazardous environment of their primal world, these Vakai are dropped into other societies to plunder and kill without scruples. Yeah, we could just go Wisdom, that's fine. So, essentially you're researching everything, exploring, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so 366 years for the ore veins. There's no current growth, so I would like to get that up. Vakai can now travel their primordial world via dirigibles connecting capitals everywhere on Kepler-4. Influential Superior rises to power on Kepler-4. Vakai compose an epic poem recounting their history. Oh, something's happening on the Dorloth meteor ship. Dorloth growth. Improved living quarters. Architectural optimizations by the engineers of the meteor ship lead to more living quarters within the ship. Considering there's hardly anybody on the ship, sure. These modifications made far more Dorloth can comfortably live on board. The wonderful everyday IKEA marketing slogan. Yeah, we're currently up to, it's 80, it's still 82. This growth percentage, but that's weird, it's still 82. Okay. So massive growth. Engineers continue to improve on the original design and layout of the Dorloth meteor ship's quarters. With more room, the crew continues to grow in size. They're still Bronze Age tech. Regular development changes allow for minor growth in the population of the Dorloth meteor ship. Dead end. Improvements are utilized for recreational purposes, failing to create more space for a new crew. Yeah, we'll just go regular. I don't want to spend any points on the ships. That will bump the growth a little bit. Yeah, so there we go. So there's a big increase there all of a sudden. 13.9%, 14% growth now. Yeah, so they're actually growing slightly, 146, 47 of them. So we're now the Maru circuits, now that they're in the Singularity Age. Still have the Dorloth Democratic Dominions, the settler factions of the Dorloth there, the Batir Fertile Multitudes, and the Vakai Leagues now, instead of ladders. So let's try to get some growth here on these guys. Does Kepler 4 revolve around our sun? Is there life after death? Asking the big questions. Okay, beautiful poems are shared amongst the Vakai. Resources are good. We'll go tech. Remarkable academics work is widely circulated. Advances in architecture inspire a redesign of the capitals. Okay, the Rao ship. Crazy bug people. Rao injustice. Sadistic officers. A clique of cruel officers brought themselves into positions of power on the Rao ship and used their authority to torment the weakest of the crew. Nobody gets killed, but daily life aboard the ship will become horrible if this is allowed to continue. Everything I told you is a lie. This isn't happening to you for a reason. Well, one reason. I enjoy it. Ramsay Snow in Game of Thrones. So prevention, yeah, that costs a lot, not doing that. Officers cannot risk being open about the cruel games they play with the crew, but they manage to implement many hidden methods to torture and manipulate the unlucky ones aboard the Rao ship. Or we can go massive injustice. The captain enjoys the rank of the torturers, and from now on, their cruel games are no longer hidden. They become part of daily life aboard the Rao ship. We'll just let things go with a regular development. Have 0 growth, which is probably not too bad considering you're on a hollowed out asteroid very, very slowly traveling through space. We'll just kind of let you go with that. That's fine. We're going to keep trying to get the Vakai Leagues running a little better. Try to get some growth here if I can. Will our sun expire and bring eternal darkness to Kepler 4? I mean, eventually. Bustling Vakai capital becomes a center of trade and commerce. There we go, we've got some growth now. Vakai mourn the death of a beloved trapper's superior. Vakai establish a new league. Grab some tech, that might push me up. Great academic, leaves behind an important legacy. Yeah, we'll get the new age. So the dirigible age, we flew through very quickly, so we've entered the industrial age. The Kai start to study electricity, steam power, and machine manufacturing in the industrial age. Harnessing the power of radio waves might allow them to send signals into space, but the civilization could accidentally eradicate itself as weapons development thrusts forth. Interference with the planet poses a serious threat to the ecosystem that has sustained vicality through the ages. Okay, nothing for wisdom, no cost. Age sees an explosion in the Vakai potential for telecommunications via radio waves. Mass-produced goods, including new medicines, could improve the lives of many. Advancement, hard work, and ingenuity are needed to manage rapid urbanization without critically harming the planet. Trade networks across vast swaths of Kepler 4 offer high-speed mobility for both freight and passengers. We might want to look at... So this is more growth and resource focused. We might want to do that. Or we can focus our effort on tanks, bomber planes, simple automatic weapons. Yeah, I think we'll do advancement, which is the population growth and resources focus, rather than radio tech. It's now the Vakai nations. Vakai support large industrial areas through industrial production. So they've got over 1,000 years of resources in the coal fields. That's quite good. growth is now 8%. They're in the industrial age. I would think that that would mean... I mean, I guess the signals have already passed, so the signal didn't continue over multiple years. It was kind of a one-time thing, or maybe a whole year worth of broadcast, but it's already past the Vakai. So even though they have radio now, and they're inside the range of multiple different broadcasts, it's too late for them to have picked it up. The signals are already gone. They've passed by. I'm assuming that's what's going on. Okay, what do we want to do? Anything? We can take a look really quick and see how everyone's doing. The Batir, Cyber Age, you've got almost 300 years to go. That's totally fine. Growth is still really high, 7 billion of them. The Maru, now up to 3.8 billion, so they've massively increased their population. Resources are good for over 2,000 years. Settlers have a problem. Resource scarcity in 13 years. Alright, we might want to sit on these guys then. Their growth is really, really high. That's what's kind of been the issue, I think. And almost 2,000 years of resources for the Dorlath Democratic Dominions. Yeah, so we'll take a look at the settlers here. So they're in Digital Age era. We definitely want to drop that growth. New technological era dawns, inspired by the predecessor colonists. The inhabitant of the Glycess system call themselves the settlers. Resource crisis immediately kicks in as soon as I take a look at them. Scarcity crisis. Fossil fuel reservoirs are becoming scarce in the Glycess system, and the effects of colonial consumption have brought the settler civilization to a breaking point. Will the factions find ways to complete or prevent the complete exhaustion of their environment, or will they turn against each other? So we have some options. 65% chance for a decline if we prepare for a future without oil. 72% chance of hostilities if we... scarcity causes discord and competition among the settlers. Knowledge diminishes while the factions fight over dwindling resources. Or we can just go straight up war. Settlers pick up their assault rifles and fight aggressively over access to the remaining fossil fuel reservoirs. Jet fighter divisions destroy entire metropolitan bases in the so-called oil wars. 111.8 million casualties. I think that's actually not a bad outcome. It's kind of weird that they like this utopian, relatively peaceful plant people show up here, and they've become more dystopian and potentially more warlike. We should take a look and see how they compare to the Dorlath on the other planet. Let's go war. Fighting over those resources. Because growth is way too high, population's way too high. So we'll give them a bit of time. Can now connect large metropolitan bases on a global scale. And just like that, we have to leave and go to the Dorlath Democratic Dominions. Rigel is building spaceships. Extremist settlers. A small Dorlath extremist faction does not see a future in the failing Rigel system. They pool their resources and construct a convoy to transport them towards a new home in the Alpha Centauri system. Well, there's already a group of Dorlath and a group of Rao headed that way, so sure, why not? But after these things, they could not continue in any peaceable condition, but were hunted and persecuted on every side, so as their former afflictions were but as flea-bitings in comparison of these which now came upon them. William Bradford, Pilgrim aboard the Mayflower. Epic project. Successful construction of the interstellar spacecraft led to a rise in extremist views among the Dorlath. Over the decades, half the population of Rigel joins the cause. That's kind of nuts. Yeah, these guys are like 1% utopia. The other Dorlath are like 30% dystopia. Regular development. The remaining Dorlath are happy that the extremists left Rigel. Bye! But they fear for the future of Alpha Centauri after the interstellar convoy arrives there. Dead end. During the construction phase, the extremists fracture into divided groups and abandon their plans. I'm kind of happy with that, honestly, for some points. We don't need to send more people. There's already multiple people going there. the abandoned interstellar shipyards of the Rigel system, extremist Dorloth factions split into opposing groups and abandoned their plans to leave for the Alpha Centauri system. So, the settlers, 83 years before everything is used up. I definitely want to drop the growth if I can here. So, digital age technology allows the settlers optimal access to all resources. Definitely don't want to increase the growth. Influential leader rises to power. So, the war is currently going on. Conflict between two major factions is settled peacefully. Does our home in the Rigel system still exist? I definitely don't want growth to go up. Oil wars cause strife among the settler colonists. More dystopian. We'll go tech. Create microchips and tribute to their new home. Do tech again. The work of remarkable digital scientists is widely circulated. Well, the crazy bugs on the Rouse ship are doing something. The Rouse ship meets the mechanical age. Well, good for you guys. Aboard the Rouse ship, the Row learn new forging techniques to rework the broken parts of ancient machinery. Using the new mastery of these materials, they begin to craft simple mechanical devices to improve all aspects of their lives. Stranded on a captured hostile vessel without any equipment, I did what any sensible Marine would do. Melted the metal of the broken computer system into plate armor. Alright, you guys, growth is 0. 394 years, it's fine. Should be good. So, inspired by a bold, consistent front stamped on every corridor, the crew rediscover the printing press. Well, they wouldn't rediscover, they never had it in the first place. Knowledge begins to rapidly spread. Advancement is going to cost me, so not a fan of that. Power. Through slow experimentation and many accidental deaths, captains aboard the Rouse ship learn how to operate the ship's internal defense systems. Warfare among the crew becomes ever more deadly as ancient technology turns melee clashes into bloodbaths. Yeah, I think we'll just go with wisdom then. So, yeah, we can learn how to print and read and stuff. That seems good. So, into the mechanical age. Still, yeah, 394 years worth of resources on the ship. I have no idea how long it's going to take. Because it doesn't look like they're very far. Yeah, like the Rouse ship is there, and the Dorloth ship is there. So they're actually ahead. Both going to the same place. Alright, we'll check back in on the settlers. Currently going through the oil wars. Okay, let's get some more resources. Protected land region, Unglia Sea. Something's going on with the Batir, fertile multitudes. Oh, well, that's not a good sign. Extinction and Vex. Orbital station crash. The Batir built a massive space station in the orbit of Vexus. A terrible reactor accident sends the construct spiraling down towards the planet. The sheer size of the impact would destroy most life on the surface. The youth in vain, his melting pinion shakes, his feathers gone, no longer air he takes. O father, father, as he strove to cry, down to the sea he tumbled from on high. The story of Daedalus and Icarus by Ovid. There's currently 7.7 billion. Close call is going to cost me. With a desperate coordinated operation, the Batir are able to destroy the space station before it enters the atmosphere. Go minimal survivors. The impact wreaks havoc on Vexus, but a fraction of the Batir population managed to escape to orbit. Gradually, they're able to resettle their burned planet from space. 7.3 billion lost. Complete extinction. With horror, the Batir watch the space station enter the atmosphere. After the gigantic impact, their whole civilization is turned to ash. All Batir lives lost. It only cost me 30 to save them, so let's do that. The Batir always remembered the day when they watched the destruction of their biggest orbital space station, thus narrowly avoiding catastrophe. Yeah, they're still in the cyber age, too. Fairly soon, you'd think it wouldn't necessarily wipe them out. It would just wipe them out on that planet, but they'd have other planets in the same system settled and stuff. How are you guys doing down here? Moving through tech a little bit slower. Growth is pretty high. Plenty of years of resources. Alright, we'll go back and check on these guys. A little bit more peaceful, please. And be a little bit less dystopian. Modernize the appearance and function of everyday objects. Less dystopian, say more dystopian. Settlers develop new media to illustrate the history of their civilization. And the Batir fertile multitudes get to the next tech age, so they also reach the solar age. So they can build ships, exploring their own solar system, advanced AI, genetic engineering, all that good stuff. So for a cost, can expand further into the cosmos. Advancement lets us terraform, colony construction. Power is a fleet of ships to ensure everyone remains loyal to the main government. We'll go advancement for no cost because I just spent the money to save them. Batir can now establish permanent library colonies on other planets in the Vex system. Yeah, they've got big a cultural pillar of building libraries, but also tomb complexes and stuff as well from very early on, and they've changed the way they look quite a bit here all of a sudden. Still the Batir fertile dominions, though. You can kind of see technologically advanced is the star, so like how far along they are. Dorloth were my first race, but they're falling a bit behind, honestly. They're about tied with the Batir at the moment. How are the Vikai doing? Very slowly working through the industrial era. Growth is decent. Alright, back to the settlers who are having a bit of a crisis. Let's push tech a bit. A little bit more peaceful. Conflict between two factions settled peacefully. Resources. Microchips in the tribute to their new home. I don't know how that increases resources, but sure. Someday we'll receive a signal from our companions in Rigel. Something's happening to the Maru circuits. A great war threatens Tau Ceti. Soul Switcher warfare. So these guys are super highly advanced, so something kind of crazy could happen. Mega wealthy Maru were able to cheat death by uploading their minds into backup bodies. This allows them to accumulate power and wealth beyond anything society's ever seen. The lower classes rise against them, but find it impossible to assassinate an enemy that can't die. Lestat deserved everything that's ever happened to you. You better not die. You might actually go to hell. The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. Peace only cost me 10, so it's not a big deal. Hackers disrupt the soul-switching tech, making it impossible to jump bodies without compromising users' mind. Seems like a pretty good solution. Regular conflict. The soul switchers win the war with an endless supply of respawning soldiers, establishing a stranglehold over the Tau Ceti system. 457 million casualties. Total war. The rebels get their hands on the soul-switching tech and jump into the ready-made soldier bodies. A fight between forces that constantly respawn brings on an era of perpetual war. 1.4 billion casualties. Yeah, we can pay 10 to stop this before it gets out of hand. The rich and powerful in Tau Ceti 3 were denied immortality, and hackers destroyed tech allowing them to perpetually switch bodies. This action was seen as a way of restoring equality to the classes in Maru society. Singularity Age technology enables the Maru to transform waste materials found throughout the system into valuable resources. Okay, we're back to the settlers. 20 years left. Yeah, let's go to tech. If I can get past this tech level, we can get resources from the asteroid belt and stuff, so we'll be okay. The death of beloved leader. Still waiting for their signal from Rigel. Faction established. tech. Tech's going a bit slow. Yeah, it is moving a little bit. You can kind of see as we go through quickly. Dorlath meteor ship. There's something going on. Dorlath growth. Dorlath of the meteor ship raise new offspring during their journey towards the Alpha Centauri system. The birth rate of the crew rises faster than old Dorlath perish. What? Oh, than older Dorlath. Right. Is there enough space on their ship to host everyone? The urge to deal with rising population numbers lets people do monstrous things to each other all over the galaxy in many different times. Generational ships amplified these issues, and the fate of many future generations was decided early on. So still only in Bronze Age technology. They've got 5,000 years of resources. There's only 173 of them, so it's not a huge deal. Next generation thrives aboard the Dorlath meteor ship. The old crew is full of hopes and prepares the ships to house more Dorlath. So a massive increase in growth should be okay. Regular development. Dorlath are cautious not to overpopulate the meteor ship. Offspring of the crew are welcomed into the ranks, but many officers have mixed feelings about the new generation. Out of concern about strict growth, the captain of the Dorlath ship declares a strict one offspring per death program for the crew. Yeah, we'll just go with tons of growth, because there's only 173 Dorlath total on the ship. Now, 310? Still going up, 320, 330, maybe. 326, growth is at 26%. 2,000 years of resources, but they've got a long way to go to get to Alpha Centauri. They're basically in nuclear, I think it was nuclear era that we hollowed out the asteroid and went. So very slow tech. Okay, 2 years. Yeah, give me some resources. That'll buy me some time. Ecologists establish protected region. I think the colonists, everything's going to collapse here. Social engineers, get them to live peacefully. Resource crisis. All resources exhausted. Gliese is out of resources. Global temperature of Gliese rises dramatically as a result of the complete exploitation of fossil fuel reservoirs. Exacerbated by greenhouse gas emissions from the settlers, the impending climate collapse may mean the end of their species. Once people get the idea that it's alright to take what you want and destroy the rest, who knows when they'll stop. Octavia Butler. Well, I thought things were going pretty well here, but things are not looking great. Regress. Chance for tyranny, 67%. Alright. To survive, the settlers have to abandon their metropolitan bases and form small, self-contained communities. The fall of the settler faction will most likely lead to cruelty and oppression. Collapse. Chance of total carnage, 73%. Chaos and panic lead to the complete disintegration of the settler factions. Will the settlers take their assault rifles and obliterate each other? Or will they find a more peaceful way to deal with societal collapse? Complete extinction. These are the final days of the settlers. The collapse of their civilization is accelerated by the use of fusion bombs when their factions fight over the last remaining fossil fuel reservoirs. A chance of tyranny is better, but it does cost me. Let's keep these guys around for now. We'll pay some points and see how things go. Well, that's not really happy looking. Tyranny in Gliese. Settlers managed to live without fossil fuel reservoirs, but at what cost? Their factions make cruel and atrocious choices to create a new society from the ashes of the settler metropolitan bases. While redistribution is organized by the rule of the assault rifle, many settlers may not get any of the new resources. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face. Forever. George Orwell, 1984. Alright, Rise of Tyranny. Minimal repression costs me a bunch. In the shadow of their disintegrated metropolitan bases, the settlers are able to reuse the resources of their former factions. Inequality, however, rises and digital scientists become mechanized infantry, but the stagnating population survives. Regular development. Under the iron rule of the assault rifle, only a few settlers have access to resources collected from the fallen factions. All others wither away over a short period of time. 3.3 billion lives lost. Considering there's only 3.5 of us, that's pretty crazy. Total repression, also 3.3 billion lost. The worst of the worst managed to climb to the top of settler society. They hoard resources of the former factions inside ruins while commanding hordes of mechanized infantry. The rest of the settlers simply perish. So either way, 3.3 billion go away, unless I pay a bunch. This has less of a negative effect on everything else, though. Yeah, we'll just do the Rise of Tyranny regular development. From the ashes of their fallen factions, the settlers barely survived an exhaustion of resources. Only a small metropolitan base was rebuilt under the iron rule of mechanized infantry. The rest of the inhabitants were initially relieved they survived, but then had to suffer expulsion and death after all. So now they've got 2,000 years because there's only 172 million of them left. But they still are working their way towards the next era of tech, which will let them get out to the asteroid belt. So once they do that, they should be okay. I might babysit these guys a little bit longer. Growth is pretty good. And actually, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and cut it here, I think, and we'll come back and continue and see how things go for the settlers. Interesting progress. I think things have really slowed down here with the Maru. They were just flying through eras, and now they're slowing down a lot. But we'll see how it goes. I think it does end when the one faction finishes all the research, but they might have added more. Because the last time I played this, it only took a total of about maybe 5 hours to get through a whole game, whereas this seems like it's taken quite a bit longer. I'm recording these all at once, so we'll see how it goes as far as reception. I probably will upload them all one way or the other, but we'll see how things progress. I might call it before we get to the complete end, so as soon as, like, if we can play till every faction reaches the singularity, I might just play till the Maru finish everything out and just kind of see where we're at that point. Because at that point you'd think they'd have, like, faster than light travel, could travel everywhere, and everything will kind of, stabilize. But yeah, this is the Fermi Paradox. I've been Disturbing Puppet. Thanks for coming by. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, have a good one.